5 years have passed since the release of Splatoon 2 for the Nintendo Switch. At long last, the third game is right around the corner, and in this video, I want to give you a comprehensive overview of the series, so that you're more than ready for the big splash when Splatoon 3 releases on September 9th. Greetings everybody, my name is Crims, and I've been a gamer and a Nintendo fan my entire life. I love the Wii U console to this day, despite its flaws and commercial failure. During its lifespan, I spent a lot of hours playing new entries to the series I grew up with. I was so taken by these games that I failed to discover a brand new series by Nintendo themselves, Splatoon. Years passed since its release in 2015, and I never thought much about it, and I unfortunately missed out on an absolute gem. In February 2021, a Nintendo Direct would announce the third game in the series, and I realized that Splatoon is much bigger than I thought. I finally decided to play through the games in order to get up to speed before its third installment, while potentially adding a new favorite in the list of Nintendo series. So, what is Splatoon, you may ask? Splatoon is a third-person shooter developed and published by Nintendo. The game features battles between Inklings, using weaponized ink to cover territory and splat opponents. The game was first revealed at the Nintendo E3 2014 digital event, and was released for the Wii U in late May 2015. The game was very popular for the Wii U, selling almost 5 million copies, and being the 6th best-selling title on the system. The world of Splatoon just screams youth with its music, gameplay, style, and characters. Prior to playing it for myself, I thought the game was just a simple, fun multiplayer game with a straightforward single-player mode where you shoot and move through obstacle courses with no deep story slammed in your face. Honestly, that's pretty much what the game is, on the surface. I was pleasantly surprised when I discovered that Splatoon actually had deep lore that you have to work for and puzzle together yourself. By paying close attention to details and reading sunken scrolls throughout the game, you will learn the truth of the world. What I'm about to tell you is an overview of Splatoon's timeline. Around 12,000 years prior to the present day of Splatoon, humans drove themselves into extinction. Flooding sea levels drowned out much of Earth's land, humans, flora, and fauna. A professor created a cryogenic capsule that could freeze someone for thousands of years. At this time, this professor created a telephone named Tartar that stored humanity's knowledge and put it in the capsule. Judd, the professor's cat, is also preserved in the capsule. Judd was born with the incredible ability to judge turf areas at a glance, to separate the winners from the losers. It may look like he's wearing a snazzy cat tuxedo, but that's just the naturally occurring pattern of his fur. For 10,000 years, there was no activity of sentient life on Earth. Global water levels recede, forcing many marine creatures on what used to be Earth's dry land to evolve and become more intelligent. Some of these creatures also developed a humanoid structure. For example, squids evolved into Inklings, while octopi evolved into Octarians and Octolings. Thus, the mollusk era begins. The Inklings begin to use sapfish as a prized power source. Judd is released from his capsule and becomes the judge of the earliest known turf war. Around 100 years prior to the present day, Captain Cuttlefish and DJ Octavio are born. They later become the respective leaders of the Inklings and the Octarians. Captain Cuttlefish served as leader of a division called the Squidbeak Splatoon, alongside Moses Schellendorf, Judd, and 2 Inkling soldiers. DJ Octavio has been the leader of the Octarians for a long time, as far back as when they and the Inklings were allies. However, rapidly rising sea levels forced the 2 species to fight over land, and Octavio held his position as the leader of the Octarian army during the resulting Great Turf War. The Octarians built powerful machines called Great Octo weapons to fight in the war. Despite some early victories for the Octarians, a combination of good luck, superior tactics, and a higher number of limbs resulted in the Inklings being victorious, forcing the Octarians into Octo Valley, where they built and lived in underground domes. Shortly after, the turf wars became a popular competitive sport instead of a serious conflict, as they used to be 2,000 years ago. Shortly prior to the present day, the Octarians' underground domes show signs of collapsing and begin to lose power. Meanwhile, the Inkopolis host its first annual youth folk singing contest. Marie and Callie win the contest, and their career and fame as singers begin. The Squid Sisters are clever and passionate about not only their music, but entertaining their fans. Callie is optimistic and peppy, with the occasional sarcastic remark. This makes her a good foil to Marie, who has more pronounced sarcastic and lazy tendencies. In the beginning of Splatoon 1, the Octarians steal the Great Sapfish and other sapfish from Inkopolis to power their homes and the Great Octo weapons, and prepare for war against Inkopolis. Agent 3, who is controlled by the player, enters Inkopolis and joins Captain Cuddlefish's new Squid Beak Splatoon, with Marie and Callie, who are Agents 1 and 2, as undercover agents who attempt to rescue sapfish from the Octarians' control. Agent 3 launches several attacks on Octo Valley to save the sapfish, and destroy the Great Octo weapons in the process. Captain Cuddlefish is abducted and brought to DJ Octavio's lair. Agent 3 fights and defeats DJ Octavio. With the Squid Sisters' help, they bring the Great Sapfish and Captain Cuddlefish back to Inkopolis, restoring its power supply. Captain Cuddlefish then stores DJ Octavio in a snow globe. After the end of Splatoon 1, Marie wins the latest Splatfest, more about Splatfests later, that she and Callie hosted. No Splatfests occurred for a while until the arrival of the new band Off the Hook, a duo consisting of an Inkling and an Octarian, Pearl and Marina. Marie and Callie spend more time apart in variety shows and music shows respectively. Marie goes to Calamari County to visit her parents and return back to Inkopolis. She then searches for Callie. Marie goes to Octo Valley and finds that Captain Cuddlefish's shack has been abandoned and the snow globe containing DJ Octavio has been broken. DJ Octavio later gathers the defeated Octarians and establishes their new base at Octo Canyon. In the beginning of Splatoon 2, the Great Sapfish is stolen once again, plunging Inkopolis' residents into unease. Marie goes to Inkopolis Square to seek a recruit to investigate the Octarians and find Callie. With the Squid Sisters being absent, Off the Hook enters to take their place as musicians and hosts for Inkopolis News. They also host the first Splatfest since the Squid Sisters' absence. The player follows Marie to Octo Canyon, where she appoints them as Agent 4. Later on, Agent 4 and Marie receive a comlink. The voice sounds suspiciously like Callie. Agent 4 and Marie stumble into Callie at DJ Octavio's stage, where they find that she has been brainwashed under DJ Octavio's control. After freeing her from brainwashing, she and Callie reunite and perform Spicy Calamari Incantation, helping Agent 4 to defeat DJ Octavio. And the Great Sapfish is placed once again within Inkopolis. During the events of the main story of Splatoon 2, Agent 3 faces off against one last Octoling, who would later be known as Agent 8, who had a change of heart after hearing the Calamari Incantation for the first time. The two battled until an unknown assailant captured and dragged them into the deep sea metro. Agent 8 then loses their memories and works alongside Captain Cuttlefish to find Agent 3 and get back to the surface. Here, they meet a telephone who tells Agent 8 to complete a series of tasks in order to collect 4 thangs to get to the promised land. Once Agent 8 collects all 4 thanks, the telephone assembles the machine that is supposed to bring Captain Cuttlefish and Agent 8 back to the surface. This soon proves to be a trap, as the machine itself is actually a blender, intended to turn them both into raw material for the sanitized Octarians. Sanitized Octarians are a variation that have been sterilized and disinfected, allowing them to be controlled. Agent 3 manages to break them out. Agent 8 later fights a partially sanitized Agent 3. And eventually manages to get to the surface to stop the telephone's evil plans. The telephone then reveals himself as Commander Tartar, a sentient AI created by a professor as a last-ditch effort to aid the development of the next dominant species. After Agent 8 uses Marina's hyperbombs and covers the humanoid contraption completely with ink, Pearl uses her Princess Cannon to finish the job, marking another win for the Squidbeak Splatoon. Agent 8 joins Pearl and Marina on their way to Inkopolis Square. Agent 3 goes out on patrol, and Captain Cuttlefish returns to the Deep Sea Metro to check in on the denizens of the deep for just a little longer. This is where the story ends for now until Splatoon 3 comes out. Now, it's time to dive into the aforementioned Splatfests. In Splatoon, Splatfest were reoccurring events hosted by the Squid Sisters, Marie and Callie. During these events, players choose between two teams, such as cats or dogs, and compete in turf wars. The clothing section of the equipment screen became locked, and all players were forced to wear the Splatfest tee, which changed in color and design based on an Inkling's chosen team, although they could still change hats, shoes, and weapons. Inkopolis Plaza and all the stages were decorated with a flood of Miiverse posts from the Splatfest tag on the Splatoon community, some of which took the form of neon signs, banners, and even fireworks. Nighttime also descended over Inkopolis and all turf war stages. Fireworks went off periodically in the plaza, and specks of light resembling fireflies or fire embers could be seen rising into the sky. Both Marie and Callie sang and danced throughout the duration of these events. For the most part, each Splatfest lasted 24 hours, during which time the region involved was isolated and Splatfest players would only face off against players from their own region. Meanwhile, all other regions continued to play amongst each other. Super Sea Snails were awarded to participating players upon Splatfest's conclusion. Their sole use is to add sub-ability slots into a piece of gear, or re-roll those abilities. An ability could be something like more resistance to enemy ink, or faster movement, for example. Splatoon 1 had a total of 16 Splatfests, ending with Marie vs. Callie. Marie would end up winning 51% to 49%. I personally think it's genius how this result had an impact on the story of the game's sequel, as Callie is missing at the start of the game. Splatoon 2 would then have a total of 31 Splatfests, ending with Chaos vs. Order, represented by Pearl and Marina respectively. Chaos would end up with a dominant victory, and from what we have seen from Splatoon 3 thus far, the game has a strong element of chaos. It's interesting to imagine how the game would have looked like if Order had won. For people like me who are late to the party, it's a bit sad we missed out on these impactful and incredible events. That's why I got so hyped when Splatoon 3 got announced. Here's my chance to be a meaningful part of the new series of Splatfests. I really can't wait. So, join me in my next video where we will go through each and every Splatfest theme, pick a side, and discuss it. Thank you very much for watching this video. It's been great to brush up on the story of Splatoon, and I think this is a wonderful way to get up to speed before the third installment launches on September 9th. Stay fresh, everybody.